And we're live. Got 30, and of course Jethro starts barking. Wait till the second I got in the door. Oh my goodness. All right. Where are we? I'm all kind of late. And of course he's barking. I'm going to repatriate him and then I'll be back. I'll be back in a few minutes. Just all right, there we go. All right, slid in here 20 minutes late. We're live. All right. And I'll have at least 5-10 people remind me that I have my microphone muted for about 10 seconds, but it's okay. I haven't gotten to that yet. Oh, goodness, who all's here? Well, the One-Eyed Cat, Mrs. One-Eyed Cat, Unfinished Project, and Lars were all here really early. Tim72 Demon, ThumpEr. And by the way, if you hadn't seen the thumbnail, check it out. ThumpEr's blown Pontiac coming out of the water box in Sykeston. It's a cool photo. I kind of got two of Lars' favorite photos from the weekend, and I used each one for a thumbnail. Mexican Spec, Engine Light Garage says, yo, yo, yo. Howdy. Frizzell Racing says, I'll be here for a bit. Bobby Frizzell, the wizard of all things last minute craziness with trying to make events. I saw your video today, man. I get it. This hobby will $20 just to death. So you got a lot going on. We understand. Take care of what you need to, man. And we look forward to seeing you soon. And, man, you've thrown the house at it. We admire it. Lone Wrench Garage, Mexican Spec. JB says Deplorables Unite. Dan E. Boyd. Big Mike of the Hoopty Barn. Wrong English. Mean Street Mopar, by the way, Mean Street Mopar. I actually picked up a set of seats for him from Facebook Marketplace. I'll show y'all that while I'm at it. This was kind of funny. I go pick these seats up from him. They're pretty far east of me. It is a good little trip. And let me find it. So this is how you know that you're dealing with our kind of people. This dude shows up. He's got this shirt that says 340, 6,000 RPMs of fun. Okay, so we knew right there that he's the real deal. But anyway, I got those seats from him. That was a fun little trip. Took that with Jethro to pick up some really nice seats. I hope they're going in his truck. Anyway, well, I may do something on the seats, like some content on or something. They're actually in the back of the CRV right now. Andrew Nelson says, good evening from Team Niblack 57. Hello, sir. Hope y'all are well. 6th Street Garage. Hello. Mohawk is here. Kerosene Cucumbers is here. I think of that episode, Andy Griffith, every time I see that channel name. Mid-South Lowballer. What do you have there in the thumbnail? What kind of car is that? Looks decidedly GM, but I can't quite tell. What do you got there, man? What is that? I know I'm way behind, but we got 56 people in here. So Indirect Connection, 38 Racing, Dean Stevenson, Rapid Transit J, SRP. He's in a hotel somewhere. Let's see. Mopar K. Dizzy Izzy. Mama M to the third power Colleen. Okay, he's asking how much transmission fluid goes in 727. As many as those things as I've messed with, I have not. I still don't know. I just pour it in with it warm and in neutral till it gets up to the line. And just run it through the gears and make sure you get everything full. It's just a pan change. It should be easy. And if you want better answers, there's Cope. He is here. He knows a little bit about 727s. Just a little bit. All right. My Aunt Nancy's here. Yeah, I'm getting caught up here. I couldn't quite get started on time today. That's all right. Rich 220 unofficial fan page is in the house. Bigfoot Mark, howdy. Heavens Mopar Scots. Does anyone have any good jokes? Got all kinds of them, but I ain't tell that many stories on myself at one time. SRP welded on full quarter panels like in John's. I didn't notice that ThumpErs have that. Rob's Rods and Street Cars, Roy Boy. All right, let's get caught up here. Hot Rod Guy Garage, Russell. Man, we're gonna skip ahead. Make sure we try to greet the people that are hanging out. Glad y'all are here. Slant Daily Garage. Hello, Professor P. Aunt D is here. Aunt D, how cold is it getting up there where you are? Starting to get a little chilly here. Tim says, eating dinner, a fork in one hand and keyboard in the other. That describes me a lot of the time, actually. All righty, let's keep rolling here. Mexican Spec, we've been live for a while. I know we have, but I'm just trying to catch up. Dust Devil Garage. We're running forward. We get a lot of comments. I see Lunar Outlaw Garage in here. Hello, man. Sand Mountain Ballistics. Howdy. Howdy, Hunter. Pure Pontiac Garage. Mid-South Lowballers is a 1981 Challenger by Mitsubishi. Okay, I would have been wrong about that. That's an obscure one. That's very cool, though. The Mitsubishi Challengers. My cousin Lisa had one of those. Yes, Danny boy. It's a Mitsubishi Challenger. You should check that out. That's a thing. Ryan Barr's Nest. Dean's reminding Cope that 727s were a great jet. Yes, and that was the jet used in the only unsolved air piracy case in history, which was D.B. Cooper, which I think was probably Richard McCoy Floyd. I think that's pretty reasonable. Vintage Adventure Drive says his girlfriend's phone number is a 727 area code. Weird having a Floridian here in middle Oklahoma. Okay. Ginger Vance, howdy. Long time no see. Let's see. SRP, what's the best tranny filter for 727? I just like the regular felt style filters myself, but if you want a professional recommendation, John Cope is in here. So at least he was a minute ago, so he's one I would ask. I'll tell you what, I know those come in his kits, and he uses them. Dizzy says CRP still trying to sell $79 hot dogs. Bet business is slow. Okay. Whatever that is. Vintage Adventure Drives made soup for the first time today while talking to my girlfriend. I'm getting ready to make some potato soup myself. It's getting to be about that kind of temperature outside. I'll make a good potato soup. Slant Daily, do you know the gun laws in Georgia and Alabama are like Tennessee? They're close, but I will tell you the best place to go for those is go to handgunlaw.us. That is the best resource for traveling state to state. You will see differences, but there's a wonderful summary page, plain English, that tells you what you need to know. The guy who maintains it is a guy named Gary Slider, and he does a great job. Handgunlaw.us. If you have some specific nuanced questions, you can hit me up offline, and I might be able to help you with some of that. So, but that's where I would go to look. Handgunlaw.us. That's where I use when I've had to travel with hardware. Rabbit Transit J, John, 904 King. I'm looking for a 904 for the mystery project for No Name Nationals. You can find one. What kind of 904 are you wanting, sir? My personal favorite ones are the ones they made from about 85 up to about 91, 92, right in there. Because those had a 12-element bolt-in sprag. They had some reinforcements to the case and lots of nice little things. I thought they were great pieces. Mexican Spec said the wife's going to make beef stew. Right on. See, this is the cool weather food starts coming out. It has to be cool a little while before we want it. But yeah, I'm gonna do some potato soup here pretty soon. I fried up the potatoes that Dougster gave us some of those golden skin potatoes, and I don't see Dougster in here, but I fried those up in butter. They were good. Vintage Adventure Drive says, I have a bunch of 904s lying around. I guess they could be donors for when I buy a nice 73 Scamp. I like the 904. And Cope has a Proflight in his shop right now, which is a 727 case with 904 guts. I'm just a big fan of the 904. I think they are excellent. Slant Daily, I agree with them on the 904. They're the best. Yeah, well, so first of all, they're all good. There's no bad 904s per se, but I personally like that vintage better. Yes, it's a lockup. If you don't want to lock up, you can convert it to a non-lockup. But that said, the parts are better in those. I've found. They have steel. They got the steel pinion stuff in them. The truck ones have that really nice reinforced tail shaft housing. It's good stuff. I like, and they have the best sprag design of all of them. The late 80s, early 90s 904 has a better sprag design than the earlier 904s and all of the 727s. Danny Boyd says 727 guts and a 904. Not possible. It will not physically clear the case. I've not tried it, but I'm assuming it won't. There's no room. You couldn't get a 727 drum or band or anything in that 904 case. Vintage Adventure Drive says, I had a 1984 lockup 904 case with 1970 guts inside. It was in my satellite when I got it. That's weird. And Cope has even said, again, he can speak for himself if he's still in here listening, that he doesn't like mixing and matching them as much because there's so many little running changes with the 904 design. But I hope that in the 84 they used the 70 sprag. I'm assuming they did. It's a little better design, but all the 904s have pin sprags, so it's pretty cool. Cope says you can get 904 guts in a GM Turbo 350. Ooh. That's weird. Cool. I like it, though. Wrong English says I can type a phone way faster. Yeah, I can. I'm a fan of the 904. I wish the 904 had a big block bell housing. Yeah, so Main Street Mopar confirms those seats are going in the Dodge D100. They're very nice. They're nice seats. Yeah, I used to be able to fly on the flip phone that had the like the 3 letters in 1 number deal with the buttons. I used to be able to do that, but obviously not done it in so long. I'm sure I'd have a hard time getting back to that. Barrows says, hello, everybody. Hello, Barrows. Good to see you in here. Dean Stevens says, DB Cooper, the quiet type who was into alloy metal. You know, it seems strange to me they never really did get that solved. They couldn't solve it with DNA. I bet money it was, you know, Richard Floyd. That's the most logical one of the suspects, but that's who I think it probably is. Dean Stevenson says Nokias and Blackberries should come back. No. As much as I like nostalgic things, I do not want to go back to the Nokia or the BlackBerry, and I want to keep the iPhone because the iPhone rocks. And all these people, yeah, but you can't reverse engineer in the Android. I just like a phone that works, and the iPhone works. That's what I like about it. 38 Raisins asking, I got a collection of No Name Nationals videos going. I've got a handful of them, and I want to put them together into something. It won't be immediate, but I do want to get it together. Yeah, I'm with Lunar. I just want my phone to work, and I don't need to be able to hack this app or that or any of that stuff. I just really like how iPhones tend to work really reliably. The same reason I like a Glock is the same reason I like an iPhone. They're simple and they work. And I used to have a hang up about, you know, off-board storage and all that stuff. And I've learned that that's not a big deal. And here's one reason it's not. People worry about that, but they make USBs that are USB-A on one end and Lightning or USB-C on the other. So you can use this with an iPhone, works just fine. I can put 128, 256 gigs on this. There's really no handicap with the iPhone. Once you go to it, you realize all that stuff you thought you needed, you don't. Tim says, am I still driving home? No. Van flawless. The only thing that happened going back that's kind of funny is I got caught in a bunch of rain, and I had to put a wiper bushing in at one time. And stupid me. I should have done all of them while I had the cowl panel off of there, and I just put one on it. And all the rest of it looked good. And sure enough, on the way back, another wiper bushing. So anyway, I learned my lesson. I'm going to take that cowl panel off and replace all of the wiper bushings. But it was no big deal. Yeah, and Dust Devil says he's had no problem with Android. Nothing wrong with that. I like my iPhone. You like your Android? No problem. Dizzy's using the Card Buddy he got from Lunar. Cool. Those things are handy, aren't they? Okay, that buffer thing always throws me for a loop. Lunar says, I've gotten so used to working on modern cars running Haltech ECUs like what my Super had. It's quite refreshing to have done a 54 flathead swap and 32 DeSoto. I'm glad I haven't gotten used to computerized stuff. I don't really ever want to own a vehicle that the year begins with a 2. Lunar says the most technological event thing that has ever been used on that DeSoto is my multimeter. I believe that. That is a cool looking car. I dig that DeSoto you got there. Vero says my phone is like my 1911. It's only good for 9 videos with 1 and a tube. Yeah, does your phone have 3 times more parts than it needs and jam regularly? 38 likes the $50 Android phones. Yep, nothing wrong with that. Let me tell you, Junk Car Willie has built the 17,000 sub channel, and he started with a phone that was like $50, filming in a junkyard. He kicks the legs of excuses out from under everyone. That dude can do it. So nothing wrong with that. Twisted Mopar says, my old iPhone only works as a phone now, worthless after that. It's kind of funny. I find more utility in them doing video and stuff after they're decommissioned as phones. SRP, I tried an iPhone. I just don't like to relearn. I know a few people that didn't really want to make that transition to one. My dad sure didn't. He was flip phone for the rest of his life, so that's fine. I tried to help him move to an iPhone, but it was not for him. Lunar's a 1911 fan. Yeah, if it's good enough for 2 world wars. Yeah, okay, all right. Model T Ford was good enough for the Great Depression. It means we should drive them on the highway now. I recognize the reality that the Glock runs better in every way. But 1911s are cool and nostalgic. I've trained with them. I like them. I respect them. But I will not pretend that a 1911 beats a Glock anywhere and any way. They are cool, though. Twisted Mopar, I can do videos but won't access YouTube. Won't let me transfer anything over 3.50 minutes. Oh, that's wild. SRP says, Junk Car Willie was in my town making videos at a car show. Yeah, he does that a lot. He is a warrior. Vintage Adventure drives, I refuse to have a smartphone. I like the simplicity of having a flip phone. Good for you. Good for you, man. Rabbit Transit Jay says he's feeling too old. My oldest son just turned 20 today. Don't tell me how old you are, Jay. You're only a year older than me. Yeah, Don's got fresh rubber tires on his aluminum slot wheels. Yeah. Dallas says, I'm a Nokia brick phone kind of guy, and I'll get back there one day. Reliable more than Sunrise. Yeah, I mean, I like the reliability. Those things were okay. They were reliable. I mean, I love how much my phone will do. And for business, I need it. I melted this phone down today over business. And being able to do things like, send documents for signature on my phone, that's a big deal. All the video and editing I can do on the phone, I don't want to give all that stuff up. So, yeah, I had a Nokia brick phone for a long time. But one thing about the iPhone is I can concentrate all of my technology here and have a whole lot less of it everywhere else. I like old TV. I live in an old house. Every vehicle I have is eligible for antique tags. I like living simply and kind of old-fashioned, but I put my technology in the phone so I can at least concentrate in one small place. And if I want to just turn it off and leave it to the side, I don't have to worry about it. I don't have smart appliances. I don't have, Alexa or any of that stuff in my house. And I like it that way. I saw a good comment there. Busy Izzy says, me talking about the Englishes, you two have transformed that Valiant. Yes, they have. We've seen that car come a long way. It has come a long way. It is safer. It is quicker. They've made it better in every way. And it looks, they got the cosmetics coming along. That car's great. Twisted Mopar says, we had tin can and string. Yeah, that's the same kind of cell phone company that Jabo from Bad Tree Productions has. Jabo, there's like a couple of payphones still left in his town in McGregor, Iowa. And he uses those because he does not have a cell phone. And I always tell Blake that his dad has a tin can and string cellular. Vintage Adventure drives like using a percolator to make my coffee. Right on. Well, I don't drink coffee, but whatever works for you. Wrong English says the phones are linked to society now for the most of us. Yeah, I guess it's here to stay. He certainly ain't going anywhere. Big Mike says, I appreciate simplicity, but appreciate certain. He likes simplicity, but appreciates certain technology. Yeah, I would agree with that. There's a lot of things that are nice. I'll tell you one thing that I don't like, though, is the instant access that our clients have and all of that. It's made the world work too 24-hour for me. It was really nice looking back, and young people won't have any idea what I'm talking about. But, I mean, we all remember that when the school day was done, our day changed. That part was over. Yeah, we could have homework, but it changed. At a certain time every day, no matter what, it changed. And we left that school and we went home and work. When work is over at a certain hour, we would leave and the business day stopped. There was no internet. There was no email. There were no cell phones. The business day stopped. And it was better for people. They had more sleep schedules and things just were more normal and worked better. And I miss that. I think that we're going to pay for that as a society not having that anymore. So I guarantee you, if I get fewer than 50 work texts tomorrow, it'll be amazing. And that's just the way it's just the way of business now. The One-Eyed Cat says, and yet we're not done. 2026 is going to be banner. Yes, it will. Mexican Spec said in the 90s, I used the excuse the battery died on my phone many times. You were early to be able to use that. But it probably did. Those batteries were terrible. They were huge and didn't last. But they keep putting more horsepower in the phone, so when they keep getting more battery, they still run them down quick. Battery holds up really good in my iPhone 15. I can't complain at all. And Boosted Designs, hello, man. I saw you sneak in the chat. My sleep schedule is horrible, he says. Yeah, it's true for most of us. Cousin Cletus, howdy. I saw you come in here. Yeah, Dizzy's got the deal with his phone going to the screen. Yeah, I do that with a hard wire on occasion. It works. Big Mike says, I remember having a notepad on my porch in case someone dropped by while I was gone. Boy, that is an old school thing right there. Vintage Adventure Drive says, I miss company meetings all the time because I stay offline while I'm at home. They use an app to let everyone know what's going on, so I'm out of that. Well, good. Nothing wrong with that. So Dizzy's got me on a 42-inch TV. I was surprised how many people watch this live on a television. I'm kind of a dinosaur. I don't do that. In fact, I didn't watch TV for about 10 years. And then I inherited the TV that I gave my mother 10 years ago that I bought. I actually had originally bought the television for doing my training classes. I would use it in classes. And then I upgraded to a bigger monitor when I moved my classroom. And I gave her that one. And of course, she died in January, and I've got that TV. And so Maybe a little, not much. I watch a little bit of old TV, like from the 70s, 60s, and 70s and 80s. And, I mean, that's the only TV worth watching to me. I don't even know what TV shows are on right now, the current day TV shows. Last I saw, they were just trash, and I had no interest in them, so I just don't care. Mohawk said, I didn't have a cell phone until 2004, and that was a company phone. I had a phone in the late 90s, I think. And I've had the same number since at least the year 2000. Cletus has an 85-inch TV, but pretty much only watch YouTube. Yeah, I remember when 85, there used to be a gigantic CRT 85-inch TV at the mall in Roanoke, and we could see that thing. And now that's, it was real exotic then, but now that's a panel. Wrong English. Do comments on my phone, muted on my screen. Yeah, that's kind of the hot ticket to do it that way. Vintage Adventure Drive says, my girlfriend is raising her kid without internet or cable. She lets him watch movies once or twice a month. Talk about old school parenting. Well, we'll see how that turns out. That's kind of wild. I will say, I think it's crazy how the smartphones in the schools now, it has got to be a disaster. I can't possibly see keeping any kind of order like that, but I don't know. What say y'all? What do y'all say that have young ones in schools with these smartphones? I see three-dimensional Rich is in here. 2D Rich is in my building. 3D Rich is in the chat. Dizzy says, wanted nothing to do with YouTube till he saw the No Name Nationals announcement. Well, we're glad to have you here. It's a good time, man. I hope it works out for you to come back in 2026. I'm telling you, I want to throw the house at it. I want 2026 to be the biggest, most fun, most successful No Name Nationals ever. I'm hoping a lot of the OGs that have not been able to make, say, that one of those or two of those years past will come back for the fifth, and we're going to have a great time. There's a lot of little things I think are all coming together to really come together well for 2026. So let's make it happen. And here's the thing. Here's the secret. If everybody comes back, that will by default do that. But people just have to know that's what it takes. Danny Boyd says, she just needs to let him know how stupid TV if only it was that easy. If only it was that easy. Boosted Designs, wish I could have made it this year. Yeah, we missed you. But we're really going to try for 2026, and we need a good turnout, a good showing. We've got more media interest than ever. It's interesting because I've had a bunch of people tell me, so I'm assuming it is true, that David Freiberger was talking about No Name Nationals on something of his. And well, there's a lot of people talking about this that weren't before. We've gotten on a lot of people's radars now. And so we're putting on a show that people are watching. Put it like that. But I'm going to tell you one thing. What matters to me is all of y'all. What matters to me is all of you who are here. The mission statement of the No Name Nationals is to have a cookout in the middle of the country at a drag strip with my friends. And that has never changed. So the more people that want to join the party and understand the community, the merrier. That's great. But that won't change. But if someone wants to have a 500,000 sub channel or 1 million sub channel, wants to show up and hang out, that's fine. We don't hold that against them. They got to have their 500 and they can join like the rest of us. But they got to understand it's a community event. Rabbit Transit J says, my youngest son has to drop the phone in a basket until the end of school. My middle son does online schooling. Yeah, I like the idea of having the phone in the basket, just because I just don't know how you could possibly maintain any kind of order with that. I just can't even imagine, but I don't know. It just seems wild to me. I am so glad that cell phones were not a thing when I was in grade school. Bear Rose wants to see an age requirement on smartphones 18 and up. And if you need to have your kid to have a phone, give them a phone that's only a phone. I could see that. I could see that. Get behind that. Roy Boy says, I plan to come back in 2026 and drive my rusty Cuda there just as a spectator. A lowly. Low spectators aren't lowly. How many subscribers do you have? You want to race? You can do it. Dizzy Izzy says, movie night Thursday. I'd like to bring the movie back. But I'm going to tell you, the movie's an expensive proposition, and I would want a turnout. And the movie is not quite as easy to package into the event as you might think. The only time that is just perfect is Thursday after the cruise. The problem is that most people are just completely worn out on Thursday after they drive there. They go to Lambert's and then just die. And so that's the problem with Thursday night movie night. That said, if we have a good turnout, people want to show up, I'm definitely open to having it again. I'm pretty sure I know what my first and second choices are to screen for the movie. I'm pretty sure I can get the licenses for those. I would like to bring it back because that movie was freaking cool. The production part of it was wonderful. We just got to make sure it's what people, and if people don't want to do it, that's okay. I understand. Some people drive 500, 600, 800, 1,000 miles before they get there on Thursday. I get that. And it is a bit late. It is. But we got to figure that out. We have some time to figure it out. Lone Wrench is still working on getting his footage together. Yeah. SRP says, now that I have a car and trailer, maybe I can make it. Well, she's got to do it. 38 says, how long ago was that Freiburger comment? Okay, funny story. So I was talking to a guy I know. He's here in town. And he was, I was on the phone with him about something. I don't remember what it was. And I said, yeah, we're rolling west. He said, oh, where are you headed? I said, we're headed to the No Name Nationals. He said, oh, man, yeah, that's good. Have a good time there. I hope y'all enjoy the show. I'm like, well, I hope so too, but I'm working it, and he didn't realize that was our community event. He said, really? He said, I heard about that from Freiburger on something. And we're just talking like not long at all before the No Name Nationals. So, and he told me that it would have been on Tuesday afternoon. Roy Boy says that race between JMJ and Levi was awesome. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And that race was neat because Levi had the faster car, but it was not a gimme because Joe had him on the tree. Joe had him at half track, and Levi spun the middle of the track because he had it turned up set on kill. And the track was starting to go away as it warmed up. So that was a close race. Joe is that slow and steady gets there. Joe will get the fives. Yes, he will. And we're going to see more. I think that was just the first round of that race. And Big Mike seconds that spectators are not lowly. Absolutely not. No, spectators are not lowly. Well, we're happy for everybody who's there. Wake me when John gets here. Tim, are you that far behind? I've been here. I've been here for 40 minutes. Twisted Mopar says next year's a long time. Anything can happen between now and then. I will plan on being there. Yeah, anything can. Anything can. I don't know why he sent me this. I don't know if Billy's watching our live stream, but there is a 2007 or 2008 picture of me and my friend Ben there with our Christmas tree that we planted in the trunk of a Nissan Sentra and made the lights on the tree work with the lights on the car. You'd open the gas tank flap, and we used the switch off of I don't remember what the switch was off of some kind of battery-powered power tool. And we wired all that up to work, and it was pretty cool. We did that for Christmas. I don't know why he just sent me that, but it's cool. Glad he did. Spectators are more than welcome. Absolutely. We're glad spectators are there. I mean, it's a big get-together. Tall Garage says hi. Hello, sir. Are there any No Name National shirts? There's all kinds of them. We just got some from Gunslinger Graphics, a new batch, and yes, there are, and they're on the website. However, that said, I have yet to adjust the prices. The prices of everything have gone up. These are nice shirts. These shirts are a bit of an upgrade, but I will tell y'all, and I'll just put it out there, I need to adjust the price on the shirts. They're going up $5. Anybody wants a shirt, if they get their order in tonight, I'll honor it at the price on the website tonight. So just saying. Ginger says, not to blame me. She started a new job, found her first cousin died. He was a race car driver, drive cancer. Yes. And so I picked her up because we didn't know when her end time was. But I'm going to show you something because she had shown me this. So this is his car. And it says Pulaski County Speedway. This is over there in Radford, but it's a paved oval. But check that out. How cool is that? Ronnie Bird, if y'all know him. And this is check out this cover of Stock Car Racing Magazine. I don't know what the date on this is. The date is November 93. Check that out. Look at that. Now, I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know if it was like a publicity photo where there was promotion going on at a local business or something. That's kind of all that makes sense to me for that, but it is a really cool photo. So anyway, I thought I would share that. Says that she's teaching him how to be an absolutely wonderful kid. I hope she's teaching him how to be an absolutely wonderful adult. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat is waiting for that orange paper to be put up. Well, the orange paper is already up, but it will have a number soon. Vintage Adventure drives. I'm outside trying to replace upper control arm bushings in my Scamp. It's fighting me pretty hard. My favorite way to do those is to take an air hammer with a chisel on it. And I just crush them in to detach them from the arms, and they fall out. That's how I do it. And once you crush the first one in, you can pull the arm over, and then I just take a grinder and get in there and just chop it. And then the bolts just knock out. And that's because the bolts don't come free. They're always just rusted up trash. If they come out, that's great. Go ahead and take the bolts out. But if they don't, that's how to deal with that. That's how I had to do them on the Dart Sport. It was miserable. 1 out of 4 unscrewed. The rest were all just turned to tree bark. Wrong English says, we went as spectators for the first No Name Nationals. No, the Don is a regular and I'm part of the pit crew. That's right. Ginger Vance says he was number 42 in Pulaski. Yes. Mid-South Lowballer was a spectator briefly at the last event. Met a whole mess of great folks. Worth it as either. I agree. A lot of people don't realize if your car's not done and you don't get to run down the track, do remember you have an enormous amount of fun as a spectator. Just come on. Your registration, even if your car doesn't make it, still is your spectator weekend pass for the driver. So come on. Come have fun with us. Is that an IROC Daytona? It sure looks like it. It does look like it. But, of course, those bodies are a little hard to tell. But, yeah, I can tell. You can see about a quarter window glass. It's an IROC. So, if you go to the website, you get your shirt tonight, you get it at the old price. But I'm gonna hop it up. So, I've got to. I got to tell you, though, it's hard for me to want to participate in these ever-escalating prices we have because the value's kicked out of our dollar. But I'm having to, like everyone else. I have really tried to keep this event as affordable as I possibly can. You guys know that the margins, we keep them really low. But then one thing you guys can do to help keep me from having to raise prices a little bit on things like registration, like merch, is recruit your friends. I definitely do not want a bigger event that does not meet the same standards of this community. It's got to meet this community standards, okay? It will always be a family-friendly event. I want the kind of people just like we have now, just like you guys. But I would like to see it grow a little bit. I'd like to see 150 to 200 car count. And we can do that. But, you know, what's the website? NoNameNationals.com. We'll take you right there. Just type it in. The wrong English says, bring your ride and break the motor in at No Name Nationals. There was an audience for that. We actually had 2 people doing that there. Don was doing it and Junkyard D was doing it. Dizzy says his father worked for Dodge for 30 years and found Dodge marked heavy leather work gloves, 2 watches, a knife, and goggles. Yeah. All right, Lunar. Hey, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. Vintage Adventure drives and trying my hardest to get the bushings out of the arms. The bolts came right out. The bushings are stuck. Dude, they will come free. Use a little heat. Pull them right out of there. They'll come out. They will come. Are you having a hard time getting the arms free of the chassis or the bushings free of the arms? Tell me which. I've fought them out of there every which way. There's a lot of people in this chat who have done exactly what you're doing. Slant Daily Garage says, we have the greatest and best community on YouTube. Yes, we do. Cousin Cletus, I brought my daily this year. I'm going to tell you, I'm conflicted on what we should be doing with Teslas. And I will tell you why. The minor concern is that they are so utterly unaffected by weather and traction that it does make them kind of unsporting in bracket. I would agree with that. But that to me is the minor concern. The major concern is a couple of things. One, those things are too quick for the safety equipment. I'm okay with ones running stock, which you are, but these plaids are running down in the 6s. And, you know, I mean, and they're super heavy running in the 6s. And the big thing is, if you have a fire with one of those, if one of those things wrecked running over 100 miles an hour on the big end, and you had a fire with those batteries, these tracks are not equipped to handle those kind of battery fires. So there's serious concerns that I have with how quick these Teslas are getting running. It's a growing pains thing. I get it, but we got to figure out where we're going to go with those things. I'll say that knowing you've already said you don't plan to bring a Tesla back for 26. Heavens Mopar says, Mid-South, register for the 2026 No Name Nationals and make consistent content. You'll get your 500 subs. Yes. People who don't quit get it. They always do. Dougster, hey Dougster, you probably weren't in here. I fried up those potatoes in butter that you gave me, and they were delicious. Cletus said, I wouldn't think anyone else will bring another. I can see the concern for sure. I like them. They're fast. They're neat. I really do. But those are concerns, especially fire. Fire and what the ETs they're running. Those plaids. Andy Wood put up a short one going 641 down at Shady Side. I never saw a tree. I'm assuming they did that with some kind of accelerometer in the car. And who knows if anyone was wearing a helmet. 4 people in the car doing a 641 pass. You know, I'm seeing what those cars can do, and I want to get ahead of them because that's a lot of speed, a lot of battery, you know. People are getting in on the shirt thing. Yeah. If you do, you get in on the shirt thing. We'll honor the old price, but they got to go up. We got new shirts and they cost us more, so we're just passing that on. Okay, the bushings are stuck in the arms. I'm at the point of cutting the shell and hammering it out. Yeah, but don't distort your arms doing that. And you can't don't do a washer, dude. This is easy. Take an air hammer with a chisel and go right around the shell, right where it goes through the arm. You crush it in, it'll come right out. I've done a bunch of them like that. No, the press will bend up the arm. You put the new one in with the press. I like just air hammering it out. Comes right out. I learned that trick doing some in a Camaro, but it works on a Mopar very well. So once you take that air hammer, it just crushes the shell in a little bit, and it breaks all of that rust pressed in, and they just fall out. Dizzy says, CRT call out. Who wants to see us run besides me? Well, I'm not speaking for Cope, but he didn't last year. Danny Boyd, I have no idea if they make air hammers in electric or battery powered. If my friend Ben was in here, he could tell you, but the air ones work great. And you might be able to do it with, just a regular hammer and chisel. The problem is I wouldn't want it to get bent or something. I like the way that the air hammer, the way it strikes, because it doesn't want to, bend on the arm. Vintage Adventure drives, I have to do everything by hand. The compressor won't handle air. I almost have it out. Man, any shop will have enough air to do that. They let you just swing by and do it. Did you know a buddy that has a compressor? Air hammer's consistent. Yeah, those things, they're great at just crushing that outer shell in a little and taking them out. Dust Devil says, do not ever try to press out Mopar ball joints. Yes. So there's two sizes of special socket they take. A 4-sided socket. The I think it's up to 72 uses a small one, and 73 and up, like the disc brake front ends, use a bigger ball joint. I can't be on the live if I go to a shop. Hey, you could take it with you. Hey, I tell you what, if you were to go to a shop right now, and you can do it while we're still live, you can stream. I'll put you on screen. You can show us what you're doing. How about that? Yeah, the ball joints do come out really well if you have the right socket. 3 sizes. Yeah, I have 3, but I was only 2 I could think of. But I have 3 of those weird sockets. There must be 3. Barrow says, I work with electric motors daily. A 20 horsepower cast iron motor weighs as much as a small block Ford. A small block Ford you can start on an engine stand. That 20 horsepower, I have to strap it down to test fire, it will flip around with the torque. I could see that. Colleen has both sizes. Yeah, I'm only thinking 2 I can think of. Buff says 3. I do have 3 of those sockets, so if there's a third size, I have it and can't think right off what it goes to. Yes, Tanner has a flip phone. Yeah, well, okay. So whoever has the shop might also have the phone. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. Vintage Adventure drives. I've seen a few people press out Mopar ball joints. You've seen them press them out? The ones that screw out? How much damage did it do? I'm sure it wrung the threads out of the arm. Yeah, I could see it. I mean, there aren't much to those threads, but it would ruin the arms. Dust Devil says, I only have 2 sockets. Yeah. That's one thing. If you see it in the toolbox, you know it's a Mopar guy's shop. If you see those sockets in there. It is kind of funny because I've been to flea markets and I've seen tools for sale, and you can tell sometimes by the tools they have what they were working on. A lot of times you can. Dougster says, the local auto parts store sold me the special socket to remove the thread in the upper ball joint. Cost $85. They saw you coming. I got mine at a flea market for less than $10 a piece. My buddy had to weld in the ball joints for his 76 Aspen because he pressed them out. I didn't let him off easy about that. Yeah, I'm sure. Danny Boyd says, I rented a press from AutoZone to do Fox body ball joints. Yeah, but you can still do the Lona tool thing. And then Hazard Fraught does a pretty affordable ball joint press too. Yeah, and Dizzy says Napa's got the loaner deal thing for him, so that's cool. All right, bushing shell number 3 is out. 1 to go. Dust Devil says, I think what got Rapid Transit their subs was a ball joint short. Yes, it was. It was a wild one, too. It was millions of views. If one of the mods could put up the link to that, that'd be pretty cool. Hobo Fright, I say Hazard Fraught. There's a hilarious print ad that somebody put on the internet, a parody that was made of hazard fraught tools. If you've not seen that, it is hilarious. Aunt D says, I let someone borrow one of my ball joint sockets. Never saw him or the socket again. Wow. Hope it was a 5-point. Mohawk says, my toolbox has hundreds of SAE tools and just a few metric. Guess what I like to work on? Why not just convert them over to tubular A-arms? I don't know. Maybe we like cool old things that are Mopar-ish. I don't know. I like the factory arms. Just, I don't know. There's a lot of things like that that are just cool that are factory pieces. They work fine. They're not heavy. They're really not hard to get the bushings and stuff done, really. They're not bad. Dizzy says, because of their tool ending, only buy from them. Yeah, that could be a significant reason to do it. Vintage Adventure Drives, I'm looking to keep expensive parts off the car. There's a lot of things I like because they are very factory, very nostalgic. Wrong English and Ron, they did a complete front end upgrade. Yes, they did. They made that car a lot better. They just kept tuning that car, making it better and nicer. And it's really been a nice work. But they've kept a lot of those vintage things. Like, yeah, he needed to do some work on the gas tank, for example. It had a leak at the tank itself. And so rather than just put a fuel cell in it, they actually cleaned that tank, had it welded up, fixed the leak, made it safe, put it back in the car. So they've kept all these vintage touches. Like the thing has a bracket for the throttle springs made out of a dinner fork. And he kept that. No reason not to, but there's lots of that kind of stuff that they've kept all over the car. But they've made a lot of upgrades to make it better and safer around that. So I really like the way they're doing. They're doing really right. Big Mike says, I remember changing out the ball joints of my 72 Charger, not knowing what I was doing. I didn't have the socket, so I used my roto hammer on the flange to get it turned. I guess you got it, didn't you? Tim's got to drive 10 miles to his brother-in-law's house to borrow my tools back. Yeah, I can see that. Dean says, Mopar factory pieces are great. They are. They really are. He says, Vintage Venture Drive says, I'll have to do a short of my buddy's Aspen about the gas tank I welded a new floor into. Ooh, sounds sketchy. Yeah, I remember fixing a gas tank on a 70 Dart with JB Weld, and it worked amazingly well. Amazingly well. The gas never seemed to bother. The leak never came back. Couldn't believe how well that worked. Cleaned it real good, put it on there, painted over it. Just never had a problem. It's the kind of thing I probably will be afraid to try now, except I know how well it worked then. Uncle Sonny built it, retired from Ford, but is a Mopar man. Right on. Danny Boyd reminds you not to tighten the control arms without the weight of the car on its tires and suspension. Colleen says, Jay, can you locate your ball joint video to email her? Yeah, I don't know exactly where that is. If you go through their shorts, it would have been from 2022 because it was for the very first No Name Nationals, and it has millions of views. It's pretty wild, though. Can't remember what the name of it was. Dokester says, I like Napa, more real parts people work there. In general, that seems to be true everywhere. The Napas are better about having better counter people everywhere. JJ says it's named This Is Sketchy. Well, that could describe anything. But it worked. I'm trying to remember what the name of it was, and it was something like that. Uncle Sonny's been retired 36 years now. Good deal. What does Uncle Sonny think about what's going on with the Valiant now? He's watched this thing grow with you. He's the one that put the big block in it originally. Yes, indeed. Aunt D says, converting a C10 to power brakes using many original replacement parts as possible instead of aftermarket. Looks more original, less expensive, and hopefully more serviceable in the future. Yeah, right on. Now, you're doing a vacuum booster and not Hydra boost, right? Shorts don't show titles. Yeah, it's a lot harder because you got to go in and dig them out. So, yeah, that does make it harder. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, not right on the screen the same way. He's all up into updates. So I'm taking he's digging what you're doing, right? Vacuum booster. Right on. Does it have a mild enough cam that you got plenty of vacuum? Are you having to put a reservoir on it or anything? The older I get, the more I like a lot of those original parts. Here we go. Here's Jay's short. Thank you, Colleen, for putting up the link. It's a fun short. And it went wild. And Jay and Jason, so for those of you who are newer and don't remember, Jay and Jason of Rabbit Transit Garage were the second team to cross the finish line ever, all time in the No Name 500, with RC Industries Rick being first, just barely. But although Rick started with 450 subs, so he got there first, Jay and Jason almost beat him, and they came from further back. But Jason liked it so much, he did it twice. He did it not only with Jay on the Rabbit Transit Garage channel, he did it on the Indirect Connection channel too. Jason is one of the most no excuses people I've ever met. That guy, people say it's too hard to do once. He did it twice. I was, by the way, when I went and picked up Main Street Mopar seats, I was wearing my Indirect Connection shirt. And he was wearing his 340 shirt. So anyway, we both got a kick out of the threads each other had on. Dokester says, my friend would graft a 79 Camaro front subframe onto a C10 for a way better front suspension and brakes. Especially the aftermarket makes the truck handle well. That sounds pretty cool. So that's the way to get that on that, where like a Crown Vic is the way to get that on the old Ford, or Mustang 2 was the way a lot of people did it. I can see that. Narrows says, I have a couple of those step-up brackets for the booster so it clears the steering column. Every time I see one, I buy it up. Well, there you go. That's a Barrows tip I didn't know. Mr. Quick Wrench, if you go with an 89 7.3 diesel, it has a vacuum pump that runs off your old pulley system, and you can run any cam you want. So there you go. There's a possibility. That sounds to me like a good option for people that don't want to do a Hydra boost, but don't have enough vacuum, at idle. So there you go. There's a possibility. That's cool. It's good to know. Wrong English says, Don has some video on front-end ball joints. Leverage is your friend. Yeah. Although I've never really had much problem getting those Mopar ball joints out at all. The bottom one just bolts in. The top one, they seem like they screw out pretty easy. Aunt D says it's a very original 76 C10 aside from power steering and 4-speed instead of 3 on the tree. Right on. Colleen says, for the record, Jay has more than one video titled This Is Sketchy. I can see that. And probably because the first one did so well, he probably made several more with that title. a lot of us were trying to figure out what in the world we were doing then with titles and such, and I guess that was all part of the experience. Okay, Colleen, I keep looking at this car right here. See this thing? We see it in this garage. We see it in there. What is the latest on that 71 Charger? It's a 71, isn't it? Dust Devil Garage says you can just skip leg day and run manual brakes. Yeah, that you can. Although, I don't want to think about any kind of leg day. My leg is not getting better. I'm not a fan. DJ said I thought about that after I typed it right. That's like saying, which of your cars are you doing whatever with? Oh, the rusty one. Yeah, okay. Indirect Jason says, for the record, if Jay and I are in the same garage, we're going full sketchy, just saying. As long as it keeps you guys safe and you pass tech, I don't care. Limbo. Well, what kind of limbo? What's going on with it? That's such a cool car. We'd love to see you ride it. What kind of limbo? Vintage Adventure Drives runs manual drum brakes, manual steering, and manual transmission on my satellite. 100 miles tomorrow, he's driving it that way. Cool. Yep. I got manual everything on Dad's Jeep, except the brakes are boosted discs. But it's manual transmission, manual steering. Aunt D's saying step-up brackets for the booster. He mocked it up and looked like there's plenty of clearance. Oh, okay. Well, it's a good hot tip from Barrows, though. So if you need it. Ron English got to run because his day starts early. Thank you for joining us, sir. I'm glad you were here. Barrows says you don't need that bracket for those, only the 60 to 72, and 72 came with it from the factory. Jay says, that's it. Party at Colleen's house to work on the Charger. Who's in? Well, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I've never seen any content on that car. I know she has it. It's in her thumbnail. Kind of like to know a little more about what's going on with it. What can we do? Do you think we can do to help? Jason says, I'm in. I'd be in as well. I could do that. That's on my side of the world. Dizzy says, power steering and brakes? Nope, I'm a peasant. Indirect connection going full sketch tomorrow. Taking the satellite for a drive through Indy. The track to Lambert's and back is as far as it's gone. Hey, made it, didn't it? Yeah, that whole idea of doing a work party at Colleen's for the 71 Charger is interesting. I don't know, if that's anything that could happen, but it would be interesting. Colleen says, the young kid just starting out I chose to do the work blew up the building monster trucks and insurance work. Car's been blasted, floor pans in, sitting in storage till it can move to a larger. So how long has it been like that? Dougster says, my friend was running a Dodge school bus transmission in his 70 GTX. and had an adapter plate that bolted the back of a 440 block on a 17-inch dual plate clutch all spring. What? Seat was beginning to bend back. Oh my gosh, what sounds like a huge mess. Indirect, Jason. None of the gauges work, but I don't need that negativity anyways. Patrick Sullivan, hello. Dizzy says, would love to see more of the car. Colleen had a triple black 473 Charger. I like that combination. Triple black, the 400, and I like those 73 Ford Chargers. That sounds like a really nice looking ride. You have a picture of that, Dizzy? Barrows is going to give one of those 12-volt vacuum pumps a try for the wipers. Sounds like a good idea. Thanks for joining us, Patrick. Got a couple of shirt orders. I'll remind you guys that we're going to have to raise shirt prices a little bit. We had to. Price on everything went up, so we're basically just passing that along. But because they're not yet changed on the site, anybody who does put in a short order tonight will get it at the old price. I'll honor that. So NoNameNationals.com. I wasn't planning to do that, but I'm just doing it anyway. So we'll do that. But before we do that, let's give a shirt away. What do you think? I said I'd do a giveaway tonight. For those that stuck around, it's a little bit late starting. Let's see. How are we going to do this? Let's do a number. Let's do a number. All right. Okay. I'll put this on my handy Chick-fil-A receipt here. How about that? Why did it go up? Well, because people voted for stuff to go up. They voted to have less value in their dollars. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little trick here. I'm going to take some numbers that are on this ticket right here. Let's see. All righty. All right, so here's what I've done. All right, so here's how I did this. I added every number on the ticket without any kind of syntax, and I came up with a big number, divided it by 100 to get a 3-digit number, and then I've rounded it to the nearest. So the first person who can put in the chat the 3-digit number that I have is going to win a shirt. And this may take a while. I'm fine with that. And I have rounded it to the nearest whole number. So I'm gonna be looking. All right. That's just how I'm doing it. You got to get it on the nose. Anybody gets it on the nose, they win a shirt. Colleen says, text me the number. Okay, so Colleen can watch the number and we'll text it to her. So Colleen, take a look for that. I have not seen it down to your text me the number. But that's exactly how I did it. Took the receipt. I added every number without any regard to syntax. I got a big 5-digit number, divided it by 100 to get it down to 3 digits. And then you guess that number. Yeah, what did I miss? Oh, you missed the chance to win a shirt. Here's the deal. Bottom line is 3-digit number. Anybody guesses the 3-digit number on the nose, you win a shirt. Gosh, look at the numbers. My goodness. All right. Well, Colleen knows the number. And I don't care how long this goes on. In fact, if no one wins it tonight, then we might do something a little different. But we'll watch what happens. So hopefully we'll give it away tonight. I've never had one get continued over before. So Colleen has the number, though. And the thing about this, there's really no way to game it because you have no idea what all numbers are on that. Didn't get the text. Oh, I see. Didn't get delivered. All right. See if you got that. I have not seen it yet, though, Colleen. I have been watching. I have watched every submission. Gosh, it's flying. Just a guess. Okay. Well, I'm telling you. I feel like I arrived at a weird time. Well, here's what we did, Dead Judge Jamie. I decided I was going to give away a shirt because I started a little bit late. So I decided to take this Chick-fil-A receipt I randomly had laying on my desk. It's actually the tag that goes on your order bag. And I just added up every number that was on it without any regard to syntax and came up with a 5-digit number. I divided it by 100 to get a 3-digit number and rounded to a whole one. And then I sent that number to our secretary, Miss Colleen, a.k.a. Mama M3, and whomever guesses that number will win a shirt. That's the crazy way we're doing it. So, Best Devil Garage says, I know we don't agree on food. Okay, Colleen says we have a winner. So I haven't noted that myself, but she says we do. So we're gonna double check. Make sure to double check, Colleen, and we'll announce the winner. I don't like to jump to announce a winner in case we're wrong, but we'll make sure we got it. Dust Devil Garage says, I know we don't agree on food, but what about those small pecan pies you get in the gas station? You like this? They're okay. There's nothing in the gas station I really crave. Okay, I know I have seen it. Just double check, make sure, and then we'll announce it. Okay, Colleen, I'll give you about 2 minutes just to verify, and then we'll announce it. Okay. My gosh, look at those numbers flying! But just know that we definitely do have a winner. We just want to make sure this person was first. We'll just give her just a couple minutes. Boy, watch that chat just stop once we said we had a winner. Look at that. Just boom. Just ghost town. I'll look at the numbers for this later and I'll watch the chat numbers. Boom. You'll know where the giveaway was. So Colleen, you just make sure, take your time, verify. When you tell me we're verified, send me the word and I'll announce it. So in fact, Colleen, once you feel comfortable, go ahead, put it up, and I'll pin your comment up there, and we'll announce it. And it's kind of good that this person won. I'll tell you why when I put the comment up. Rabbit Transit. Jay says, I've never had a thumb cramp before. Yeah. Well, we just had to do something. I said I would do a giveaway tonight. I hadn't done one in a while, so. Danny Boyd, 351 modified. I don't know what the question was. Okay. Colleen is confident that the first person to get it was Big Mike Soupy Barn. I know he got it. She said he was first. So congratulations, Big Mike. And since Big Mike has lost a bunch of weight, it's a good time for him to win a shirt. So Big Mike, let me know what size you wear in gray or black, and it's coming to you. All right. Cousin Cletus, good way to get everyone involved. These people are all involved anyway, but I just like to have fun and do stuff like this, give stuff away occasionally. Heavens Mopar says, Dougster and I guess $9.99 right next to each other. Well, that is my favorite transmission variety. And of course, SRP says, I texted that number. When did you text it? I know it'd always be somebody. I figured it'd be you. When did you get it? But she says Big Mike got it first because the numbers were flying. They had hundreds of guesses. The number was 196. Thoughts of a Random Madman, a.k.a. Travis's Mopar Garage. He said, I hate working Friday nights. Well, we're still glad you could make it. Big Mike said, XL black sans the sleeves. Well, you can do the modifications when you get it there. In fact, that would make a good video, but coming to you, buddy. And Colleen, if you don't mind, just text me that just so that I have it on my phone to remember when I leave here. And Colleen, if you would check and see if SRP got that number before Big Mike. I'm doubting, but if he did, I will send him a shirt as well. If he did. If he's pulling our leg, it's not good. Sleeves are for quitters. No, I like sleeves. I got long sleeves on today. I got to tell you, you know what? So the No Name National sweatshirts, they're not big sellers by any stretch, but we do offer them through Gunslinger Graphics. And I got to tell you, the reason I chose the Port and Company sweatshirts for the, I know you did an SRP because you're always making comments like that. The reason I chose Port and Company for the No Name National sweatshirt is because this one I have had for years and it has never gotten fuzzy. I don't know what it is, but they almost all get that fuzzy stuff on them, right? This one never has. And this was the reason why I chose them for the No Name Nationals hoodies. The Port and Company, for whatever reason, does not. So if you see my No Name Nationals hooded sweatshirts, they are. Dust Devil says, I want to get a No Name Nationals hoodies. You can get them at NoNameNationals.com. Actually, go to the description of this video and you will see the link for that stuff. Gunslinger Graphics has them. And man, they're nice. I have one that's actually in the wash right now, or I'd get it. If it was not in the wash, I'd go grab it and show you. Big Mike's, I can't believe I actually won something. Yep, you did. Dust Devils need to grow my hoodie collection. Yeah, I love mine. If it wasn't in the wash, I'll try to make it a point to have it next week. But I really dig it. Let me see if I can show you all that. So if you go to Gunslinger Graphics on their main page, their front page of their website, I don't know who that stock photo dude is, but there is the hoodie. Oh, that looks terrible. The way that zoomed in on my phone. Okay. But there's the hoodie. They are very nice. They got the little grommets on the eyelets. Good construction. Because I like hooded sweatshirts a lot, I wanted to get one, like I wear. So, Did Dodge Garage says, hey, Mohawk, don't mind me. Just texting and driving. Sounds like a good combination. Not. YouTube's being weird. I can only scroll back. Well, don't worry. SRP was pulling your leg. I kind of figured that anyway. Travis says, can't keep my hoodies. My daughter steals them right when they come into the house. Yeah, that happens. Yeah, these are nice. I can vouch for them. That is one thing I'll tell you. We do have the stuff we have for No Name Nationals, the shirts, the hats, the hoodies, and the stickers. We get all really good quality stuff. I'll give it that. Better stuff than people do for promotions generally, like 12-year Scotch Cal vinyl, that kind of thing. So I just like good stuff. I put a short up on Dead Dodge Garage's transmission thrash, and I tell you what, I was listening to that car from up near the starting line, just how brutal that thing shifts. Oh my gosh. It's a wonder Jamie didn't break more, but it survived somehow. So what are you planning to do with that next, Jamie? You had that crunchy trans there, that 833. What's the plan, like, say, for next season for that car and transmission? Got worse on day 2 for sure. Oh boy, did it ever. What a fun car though. Was it a 30 over 273 with a 4-speed, does little tiny wheelies like that? What a fun car. I like it. I like it. I like everything about that. 38 Racing says, Tanner, I'm making a shopping list for next year. You've given me goals. Jamie says, first off, I need to fix the clutch linkage. Well, yeah, that helps. It never fully engaged. My dad's Jeep is like that. Replace third gear, get an order in delivery. All right. So you like the transmission itself and the ratios and all that. You just want to, like, get it working right? Jamie says, it's a ton of fun. I want to see much lower 8 or a high 7. I'll be very happy. Yeah, it can do it there. You can get it there. You definitely have what you need for that. That's cool. So what else are you planning to do to the car to make it quicker? I mean, it'll get a lot quicker itself if you get the shifting smoothed out and all that. And the shifters fall apart. Don't you have like a Vertigate or something in that? Like a Hurst or Mr. Gasket vertical? I can't remember what kind of shifter you had in that, but anyway. Yeah, neat car, fun car. I know Ron Ward liked it. I liked it. I like that it doesn't even have a hood. I think that's style points. Vintage Adventure Drive Stills Ray. I suppose you're truly wanting to run the Scamp. I like the Scamp. Of course, I like A-bodies in general. AHRA Dallas says it needs a lot of gear, like a 588. How much gear do you run in that car, by the way? Because mine ran a 513, and I think yours could probably run a fuzz more than that, even though it runs a little bit shorter tire. It's a vertical gauge shifter, kept coming loose. Yeah, I got a little bit of experience with those with my buddy Robert. You know, he had to stop set on his and the pins and how you have to service them. It was interesting, but they are good shifters. They really are. It's got a 488 in it right now. It's got plenty of gear. I knew it had to have a good amount of gear, just the way it pulls the wheels a little bit. Travis says Old Red is going back to carb and MSD and nitrous. Right on. All right, call your shot, Travis. What's Old Red going to run in Sykeston? What's it going to run? Main Street Mopar. Should I go ahead and get Liberty to faceplate my 18 spline Hemi, or should I just do a regular rebuild on it? Whatever makes it run and gets to Sykeston, make it run first, make it fast next. Because otherwise, if you just work on parts, you may run into just paralysis. I really, really, really want to see you get a vehicle to Sykeston this year. Heavens Mopar says Jamie sacrificed just Mopar Joe's Harbor Freight screwdriver is a punch to fix his counter shaft, but it did hold. We owe you a screwdriver, J&J. I accidentally, and I don't even know how I did it to this day, I was using a grinder in Joe's shop years ago, and it got caught in my T-shirt and stopped. I cut it off. It actually put some nicks on me. But I backed it off. I thought it was okay. And then it acted a little weird, but I thought it was okay. I didn't know. And then Joe's like, nope, it's kaput. And I thought, oh man. But anyway, I was super like busy, swamped, had a whole lot was going on. I mean, when I got back, just in the mail showed up a mystery, a new Milwaukee grinder showed up to Joe. I felt bad. I didn't realize it had done that. I was mission focused cleaning a pan rail with it. But yeah, Joe is sacrificing parts to tool gods, but I'm totally happy to chip in to get Joe like a really nice snap-on screwdriver. I'm totally happy to do that. So he's a very community-minded guy, and he certainly has helped a lot of us. So I appreciate it. First Responder Garage, Damien. Hello, glad you're here. Backwoods Performance. Backwoods. What is the word, guys? Like your little nitrous bottle avatar there. Yes, Damien with an A. Not to be confused with Damien with an E from MM&M. Rapid Transit Jason can't tell you how many of my tools Jason has thrown or broke. I would expect just as much, yes. Oh, yeah, that's right. Dead Dodge Garage got a 309 first. A lot of gear. That's why it has that good hop to it. Couple bucks for Joe's Tool Fund. Cool. Thank you, Barrows. Yeah. We'll figure out something for Joe. I like that idea. Aunt D says, big fan of making stuff safe and reliable before making it fast. I agree with that. That said, we drive old stuff and none of it is fast. Yeah. Dallas wants to know who is shooting for running in the AHRA Triple Crown class next year. 38 says, I'm in. Look at that. First to respond. First Responder Garage's Tool Fund. Hey, Colleen, if you don't mind, please tally these up, and I will put them together, and we will make that happen. Looks like we got $6, and what I'll do is, and we don't want to get too crazy with it. That's why I'm a screwdriver here. But that said, I'll pay it forward to Joe in gross, so I'll make up what Google takes. Dead Dodge Garage says, I reckon I'm in, but I learned in round one this year that I need to be a lot faster. I predict that class is going to get fast quick. So Big James has already got those cars in the high sevens, and I'm looking for him to whittle it down and so forth and so on. Main Street Mopar said, well, there. I took the side cover off the 18 spline 4-speed, and other than some well-used gear oil, it's pretty clean. Put that thing back together and put it in. Put the cover back on and put it in. Rabbit Transit said, working on his old value at my place, he went all angry trucker and chucked my hammer in the farm field next to my place. Gosh. Vintage Adventure Drive says, if I get a wild hair and bring the satellite again, he'll run. If he brings a scamp, I'm out. All right, on. Bring what makes you happy. JB says, we will see what I can do. Oh, but JB, if you're running a 6-cylinder, I don't think you can run Triple Crown. $5 Tool Fund for Joseph. Colleen, if you are in the house, please help us keep track of these. We'll round that one to 2, 5, and 5. So what are we now? We're like, 2, 5, and 5. We'll call that $12. But Colleen, if you're here, please let me know. I will be appreciated. Dust Devil says, I'm bringing my A-grade to Triple Crown. Right on. We want to see it. Vintage Adventure Drive says, I've never even pulled the cover on my 833 of my satellite, and second gear was loving me. Vintage Adventure Drive says, I may try to bring a friend with his car to run Triple Crown. He's on my channel a bunch, so he'd be with my channel. He needs to be integrated into your channel. Dead Dodge Garage says, what's the cubic inch limit for Triple Crown? I know it's a weight break deal. I'm thinking it's 368 or something close. But that said, if Dallas is still in here, he'd be the perfect one to answer that. I think it's 368. A 360-30 over is right on that, I think. Or 30 or 40 over on a 360, I want to say is 368. Mr. Quickridge says, are we going to do a diesel? I don't know. Are you? Cletus says, I want to see more cars in the burnout competition. I agree, and we're going to. Yeah, Jay says 368, so does Danny Boy. Yeah, sounds about right. SRP says, I'm out. Were you in? And we're talking about Triple Crown. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff there. I mean, Joe brings a 512-inch engine there. I mean, anybody can come and run. It's just that's for that particular class. Dead Dodge says, copy, I'd be good to better. Yeah, it's 360-40 overs. Yeah, exactly. I think that's right on it. That's a 360-40 over. You're just within it. So there you go. Backwoods, when are we going to make real small tire racing and allow 2910.5s? When our community wants to build real small tire cars. How about that? Travis says, I'll bring the Dakota for the burnout competition. Could I bring a drag bike to No Name Nationals? Sure. Of course. In Backwoods, we had 2810.5 for 3 years, but it's just it just doesn't seem to jive with our community the same way. Unfinished Project said, lost my glasses and been all night looking for them. Oh, man, I hope you find them. It's a bummer. Dust Devil wants to know, Dallas, can he use a Lexan windshield for Triple Crown? You still don't have a windshield in that car, Brian? Cool. Thank you, Colleen. Yeah, if you don't mind, just keep track of that. I would appreciate that. We'll definitely do something for Joe. Backwoods says, I just run 2910.5s and all my stuff for convenience other than the Triple Crown we're doing. Yeah, I mean, that whatever for the class, I think 2810.5 on a heavy car is what you're limited to for that. Yeah, Dust Devil, windshield's cracked, want to replace it. Yeah. Okay, makes sense. Rabbit Transit says, I'll be honest, the classes this year were awesome, something for everyone. Yeah, and we really did work on trying to move classes a little more toward what this community does, and I think it really worked. So I like it. I really like Triple Crown. I see it getting better. I really like the 6-cylinder bracket. I see more of that. Monkey Bike is faster than ever. You guys are scaring me. So we're probably going to definitely keep that at 330 next year. Monkey Bikes themselves, I like the direction they're going. And we're going to have a three-pedal party at the No Name Nationals in 2026. Ron Ward gave it that name. I mean, just right off the cuff. He said, hey, man, we need more stick cars. Let's call it the three-pedal party at the No Name Nationals. I said, you got it. So We know he'll be down for that. Ron Ward loves his manual transmission stuff. So we want to see some gear jamming at No Name Nationals in 2026. So I really think those are going to be a good set of classes. And of course, we will have the burnout, the beginner bracket, and the Friday bracket, of course, the prestigious Friday bracket, which now has its first two-time winner, just Mopar Joe. Backwoods Performance's Triple Crown has a good set of rules written out. The class can get fast but is affordable. Yeah, they always are till they're not. But yeah, I think they did a good job with the rules for that. Vintage Adventure Drives is wanting to have a clutch pedal in his Scamp by 2026. Right on. Good deal. And I like both manual and automatic. They both have their place. A really good shifting manual valve body, reverse manual automatic with a trans brake is awesome. And a really good manual transmission is too. First Responder makes a very good point that monkey bikes will need aftermarket flywheels if people keep revving them past 4,000. Yeah, we had a pretty bad flywheel explosion this year, and we want to make sure that's the last one like that we have. So, yeah. I think that we've learned and we go on. That'll be the top of the biggest Kaboom trophy for 2026. But I agree with you. Vintage Adventure Drives can't stand the torque converter in my Scamp. I hate the disconnected feeling of the high stall automatics. Well, depends what you're doing with it, I guess. Yep. Travis says the Dakota's manual transmission, right on. Scatter shield for monkey bikes. Maybe that and/or flywheel rule. We're going to look at that in the off season. Auto Salvage Outlaws ×6. Hello, sir. How you doing? I hope your health is doing well. And since we started late, even though 10 o'clock is usually our time, I'm going to stick around because we got a good crowd in here. I'm having a good time. We'll stick around a little while and take our normal time. I mean, after all, it is Friday. I hope nobody's rushing to get to work or anything, but I'll stick around a little while longer. We're having a good time. Dean Stevenson is asking a bizarre, unrelated question, which is something Dean Stevenson normally does. UP, Colonel Clink, the character from Hogan's Heroes, wore a monocle on his left eye. I guess it was a code for something, or perhaps he was a tightwad. Have no idea. Auto Salvage Outlaw says, I'm doing okay. A little sore to sick, but I'm here. Good. Good deal. Glad you're here. First Responder Garage says, aftermarket flywheels cheap and can rev to 9,000 if you got the right valve springs. Okay. Okay. You know what? We'll take that under advisement. I do think that's a good idea. That could have been bad, and we have a really good safety record at the No Name Nationals. I mean, nobody's gotten hurt in 4 years, and we want to keep it that way. So we're going to be looking at that in the off season. Dallas says, I might start wearing a monocle on both eyes because I'm a high roller. Cardboard Rich was. Mexican spec revving to 9,000 between your legs. No thanks. Dude, these slingshot dragster drivers would have a transmission sitting on top of the rear end or sitting on top of the transmission. Clutch flights, how dangerous those things were. 727s with iron drums. Oh my gosh, it's a wonder some of those people didn't get killed like that. I'm sure some probably did. All right, Vintage Adventure Drive says the last control arm bushing is out. If you want to send a picture of it, I'll put it up. Big Mike says he's been up since 3:30 a.m. getting ready to hit the hay. Y'all have a great night. Well, we'll see you, Big Mike. Thank you for coming out, and congratulations. You finally won something. Get your shirt out to you at the top of the week at the latest. Here's a very Dean Stevenson-like comment. Have you hugged a cement power pole lately? I would not, because that's the kind of thing Jethro would pee on. SRP's out. Later, man. You have a good evening. Barrows wants to know if there's any suspension changes for Triple Crown. He wants to do a straight axle. I think a few people have been wanting to do gas or stuff in Triple Crown. Backwoods says the stick shift class happens, I must change the car I plan to bring. Here's the deal. It's not going to be a class because stick car classes get out of hand so easily. What we're talking about is we're going to have a stick bracket, but we'll do some stuff, some heads up stuff for the faster stick cars. Okay. We want to see some fast stick cars, so we might do some match racing or something with the faster stick cars, but we're definitely going to have a big stick bracket. Mr. Quick Wrench, thank you for joining us. We'll see you, sir. First responder. Had to leave early from No Name Nationals. Had a lot hanging over. I understand, man. That happens. That's part of it. Well, here it is. The last bushing is out. It looks like it served a long, long life, and it's finally out of there. So you got it. Yeah, we want to see lots of people bring out their manual transmission stuff. That's the main thing. And we'll do a stick bracket. People are like, yeah, but you don't run stick shifts in brackets. Well, you do if the whole bracket is made for stick cars now, don't you? We did kind of a test program with that this year, and it was fun. So we want to do it again, but we want to have more. And we want to do some match stuff with the quicker ones. And remember, you can do call-outs too. So I think what we'll try to do is have a little house money and put some matches together where there's parity. Dallas says, Barrows, we are kicking an idea around for straight axles. There will be a cutoff year that's not advantageous for anyone, really. So keep the gassers from being too modern. So, yeah, but I don't know, Dallas. I mean, how many people really want to do a straight axle in anything too late a model? Vintage Adventure Drive says, I'm known as the 4-speed swap guy around here. I want to have true old school race car with my Scamp. Cool. I like the idea of 4-speed swap, not only with manuals, but automatics. I have something I want to put an A500 in. And it's never been seen on the internet or YouTube or so much as a frame of video that I know of. Auto Salvage Outlaw says, congratulations to Levi for running 5s in a big body Chevy. Yes, he did. Mohawk says, I would have to do some trading to get the extra pedal in my Scamp hooked back up. So you made yours automatic and it was a manual originally? Dust Devil Garage says, Heavens Mopar Scott, are you getting your Duster ready? We still have a call out from year 1. I really want to see that. And I told Scott we're going to work something out. We're going to help Scott get a car there for 2026. He's got to do his part, but we're going to help him get a car there. $585, scary fine number. Yes, he did. Corvair with a tunnel ram? Heck yeah. Yeah, sure. Sounds great to me. Backwoods says, my 67 Belvedere has been and always will be a 4-speed car. My problem is it won't ever be a race car. Okay. Just bring what makes you happy. Bring stuff that's fun. He was determined to bring it, and he did. Yes, he did. It was his year. Took him to the 4th year to really get it all together. But we'd seen him getting it all together this year, so we knew what happened. Dallas says, it's not new versus old. It's certain platforms that would really gain with a straight axle, like a shoebox Chevy 2 and early Falcons and Mustangs could likely be unbeatable with a straight axle. I don't really know why, but ThumpEr says, I got here late and saw myself as a thumbnail. Yeah, man, that was a cool picture. Laura said those were the two coolest pictures of the weekend for him. The one of Levi's car with the American flag and the sun coming up and your car coming out of the burnout box. Those were two of Laura's picks, so I used both of them. Barrow says, I've always wanted to do an old school modified out of a four-door PT Cruiser, move the engine all the way back and drive it from the back seat. I could see that. That'd be probably the coolest thing somebody's done with a PT Cruiser. ThumpEr says, can you send it? Yes, I can. Be glad to. ThumpEr, if you don't mind, send me a text, and that'll remind me to do it after the live is over. Heavens Mopars, yes, Duster will be done. We have an unfulfilled call out. 2026 is a year. Right on, man. Rabbit Transit J, straight axle will be cool. I'm collecting parts to convert my 67 Charger to straight axle. Whoa. That sounds wild. It just looks wild in my mind, too. Dallas wanted to do the same with a PT or an HHR panel. Yeah, I could see that with either one of them. Auto Salvage says, I'd like to build a Vega, but I don't want to drive it. I like those Vegas. I really do. Man, it's hard to beat a Vega wagon for cool. It really is. Dean says, ThumpEr, you're always in such a great state of Michigan. Danny Boy, lifted four-wheel drive HHR. There's lifted four-wheel drive everything out there. Vintage Adventure Drive says, people often call my Pinto a Vega. I tell them those are fighting words. Yeah, I wish that Chrysler had something small like that was made by Chrysler. Because I know when they did the Mitsubishi built stuff, they had the Japanese stuff like the Ram 50 and the Mitsubishi Challenger and stuff. But I wish they had like the Colt, right? But I wish they had a genuine American-made, smaller than the A-body car like that. That would have been really cool. Dead Dodge Garage says, did you guys hear about my plan to build a PT gasser? I kind of gave up on that, though. Well, I don't know. If as much of this stuff comes together next year, we'll have a class for it. I don't think it will, but if it did. Backwoods says, a friend of mine bought a PT Cruiser with a Viper motor. Ooh, okay. Sounds like the worst of several worlds, but I hope it's quick. Mexican Spec says, the nerve of those people. If it was a Vega, it wouldn't be running. Sure it would, but definitely not with the engine it came with. 2027 is PT party. Oh, gosh, I hope not. But we'll see. We'll see. Plymouth Cricket for the win. I think those are cool. I like them. I do. I wish it was a Chrysler-built smaller car like that. Like, I like the A-bodies, but I really like the size better of the Chevy 2 and the Pinto and those. I like those. His Pinto has the engine it came with. Well, those were good engines. Those 2300s were far better than that junk the Vega. I don't even know what the Vega came. What kind of engine was that the Vega came with? Because it sure wasn't an Iron Duke. What was that garbage they had? Yeah, I know they were horrible, but I don't remember what they were. I don't think anybody does. He did Dodge Garages. He sneaked in here. He knows what's up. Vintage Adventure Drive says, my Pinto weighs 2380 from the factory. It's a 2.0 car, not a 2.3. Okay. I got to tell you, I don't know enough about that old Ford stuff to really. I mean, I think the 2.3, but I don't really know. I just know they were good engines. Kind of weird in my mind, but they were okay. They worked. They ran. I know some guys who would use them in dirt track cars, know a lot about them. I got some friends that are into that particular Ford, know a lot about them. Mexican Spec says, I knew people that bought them new and were disappointed. The Vega back then, or the Mopars, those Vegas, they had serious rust problems, and the engines were garbage. And that's a shame because they're cool cars. And by today, we would take that cool car, keep it inside, keep it from rust, and make hot rods out of them. But because so many of them just got used up and scrapped back then, there aren't that many today, and that's a shame. Had an aluminum block 4-cylinder designed for the Wankel rotary, but they couldn't make the rotary emissions friendly. Sold it to Mazda. Yeah, I remember those. They were junky. The 2.0 and 2.3 Fords are bulletproof. Yep, pretty much. Was it the Vega Cosworth or something? There was a Cosworth Vega at No Name Nationals the first year. Mexican Spec, I'm sure there's more V8 Vegas in existence than 4-cylinders. Well, yep, I'm sure there are now, for sure. And by the way, the Vega aluminum block had no cast iron sleeves. Right. You know, my auto shop teacher when I was at New River was telling us about that they did not have iron sleeves in them. And those things by literally 40,000 miles, they were just burning oil like crazy, and they were just junky. 38 says that it was an aluminum block with an iron head. Oh my gosh, what an awful combo. Yeah, and the Iron Duke is entirely different. Right, if they put the Iron Duke in them, it would have gone a lot better. Speaking of crickets, check out your phone. I don't see anything from you, Jay, unless you emailed it. ThumpEr wants an Illuminati engine. Okay, an Illuminati engine. All right. Yeah, I don't know what the deal was with a Cosworth Vega per se. I just know it was an option package. I'm not a GM guy. I do remember the one at No Name Nationals though. Mazda made a small car like the Vega. I had one with a V8 and 4-speed. It was a bad boy. Yeah, what would that have been? Huh. Jay's talking about the Plymouth Cricket. Got a keychain for one. Look at that. That's neat, man. The 2-liter Ford is far superior to the 2.3 and is directly out of the UK Ford inventory from the little racers known as the Cortinas. Okay. All right. Danny Boyd said that the Iron Duke came in the AHRA and the Sunbird. Vegas didn't get them from the factory. Yeah, I know they didn't. I like them, though. Dallas likes the Opel Kadett. Yeah, those were neat cars. Dean said, banned by the Bavarian government in 1785, the Illuminati overhead cam was basically better than it needed to be, ThumpEr. That is a really Dean Stevenson comment if ever I've read one. Let's see. You got a power glide behind the Iron Duke. What I like is that you can use it. You can put a 904 behind the Iron Duke from a male Jeep. Those things are cool, and I have one. I have the only one I've ever seen in person. The problem is you got to have something like an AMC converter to make it work. All right, guys, we're at our time. His Dean's blood rushing to his head since he's upside down. I think that's always been the case, but we'll let that be the comment of the night. Thank you, guys. Thank you for waiting for me. It was fun. and thought we would go over our time a little bit. But thanks for being here on a Friday night. It's always fun. Make sure to check out the Tech Talk on the AHRA channel and or Slant Daily Garage channel. However, they are taking this Wednesday off. So do remember it'll be back the following Wednesday. But we will be back next Friday. And I thank you for being here, and more fun stuff to come. But with that, you guys have a great weekend, and we will see you all next week. And I might do a pop-up live sometime. Kind of feel like it. Be looking for that. We'll see it. We'll see y'all soon.